Hey guys, it's Mrs. Lamphere, and in this video we're going to be looking at the invitation assignment, which can be found under Part E of Section 1. And again, we are in Unit 2, so we're in Unit 2, Section 1, Part E, looking at this invitation assignment. So the very first thing we need to do before starting on the actual assignment is to make sure you followed the steps in Part C. So I'm going to just kind of quickly go over these steps in Part C to make sure that you got these done, because if you hadn't done this, you're not going to be able to do the assignment. So if you haven't already, go to Part C, and we need to go into our Unit 2 folder. So inside my portfolio, inside Unit 2, right-click and make a new folder and name it Invitation. So I've already done that, so I'm not going to do it again. I will go ahead and delete this. And then inside your invitation folder, you should have a new folder called Images, which I already have. So if you don't have an Images folder, go to right-click, New Folder, and create an Images folder. Going to copy the image link shown here by right-clicking the word here and saying Save Link As. Okay? And when you hit Save Link As, you're going to save it just like it is. So this is a GIF image. CLR Bronco is kind of what that stands for. So leave that the way it is and save it inside your Images folder, inside your Invitation folder, inside your Unit 2 folder, inside your Portfolio folder. Okay, so save it just as it is. Make sure you have the right folder path and you're getting it in that Images folder that we just created. I already have it saved, so I'm not going to save it again. Okay, so now we want to navigate to Unit 2, Invitation Images. When you are saving that, you should have navigated to your Unit 2 Invitation Images folder. Do not change the file name, just hit Save, close the window, and open Notepad. So now we're going to open Notepad and copy it. It says copy the code from the table below and paste it into the Notepad document. So here's the code we're going to be changing for the next assignment. So we want to copy all of this code by selecting, dragging all the way down, copy that code, paste it into your Notepad. So you can simply select it all, hit Control-C on your keyboard to copy, and Control-V in your Notepad to paste. Whoop, hold on one second. Okay, once you have that pasted into your Notepad, you're going to save this into our Unit 2 folder, Unit 2 Invitation folder, and it says to name it, I believe, oh, it's not going to let me see, index.html. And I actually already have that in my folder, so I'm not going to save it again, but you should be naming this index.html and hit save. Again, you should be in your invitation folder of your Unit 2 folder. Index.html, save, and view the web page in your browser to see what the code does. So let's go back to that folder. So I'm back inside that folder. Here's my index.html that I just saved. Double click on that and it will pop up in Firefox or Internet Explorer, whichever one you're using. And here's the invitation. So this is what that code, this code, when put together, translates to this as a web page. So we have that saved as index.html and in our invitation folder. So again, if you haven't done that, you need to do that before continuing on to the assignment. So now, as part of the assignment, we're going to take that invitation and make it our own. So we're going to change a lot of different stuff of the invitation, and we're going to change the theme, we're going to change the colors, we're going to change some of the text, and it's still going to be an invitation. We can keep the wording pretty much the same, but we're going to kind of design our own invitation. And I've actually already done that, so I'm going to show you. This is the invitation I created. I gave it kind of an alien theme and changed the colors. I changed the wording to say Greetings Earthlings. And you'll also notice that my title on the tab at the top is also different. So here's the original Howdy Webmastering Students. That's the title of our tab up here. And then this tab, as you can see now, says Greetings Earthlings and fellow webmaster students. I should probably trim that down because that doesn't all fit on the tab up there. So that's what we're going to do in this assignment. And so let's get started. All right, so first we're going to want to open the HTML code that we saved as index. So ignore this index 2 because that's what we are going to be creating. So go back into your index code. And you'll notice that when you double click on it, you're going to just get this website every time. But I want to actually get back inside into the code in order to make some adjustments. So what you're going to want to do is right click on this index file and go to Open With Notepad. And you're going to see that code again open up in Notepad. If you don't see Notepad as an option here, you might have to go to Choose Default Program, and either hopefully you find Notepad under Recommended Programs, or you might have to search for Notepad under Files. And you want to make sure to uncheck Always Use Selected Program to open this kind of file. We don't want it to always open in Notepad. We want it to default to Firefox, but I want to be able to open it with Notepad in order to make adjustments to the code. So right click and Open with Notepad. That'll bring you to your code here. All right, so this is the code for the Howdy invitation. You can see the title of the page is up here between the title brackets. And then these are the different styles that they created for the different parts of this website. And we're not going to get a lot into styles right now. We actually cover that in the next section. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but you can kind of see based on the name of these styles that we were creating where they apply to. So title text. The following code is going to apply to our title text. And so our title text is going to be this text right here. So anything we do to this code, let me get that back open, is going to adjust this title text here. Okay? So we can change the font family. It's currently Arial. We could change that. We can change the font size. We could change whether it's bold or regular or italicized. We can change the color. So let's go back to our text and see everything we need to change. So we're going to change the theme of the cowboy to something you would like. Make sure it's school appropriate. So like I showed you, mine is aliens. Change the colors for the page background, table background, and text. So I clicked on this color link, and this opens up kind of the color table that you can use to change the colors of the background, the text. These are the different codes for the different colors. Let me get this all fit into my screen here. All right, so say you want to use, well actually let's find out real quick what color they're currently using. So they're currently using this #0000 FF. That's the color they're using. So if you scroll through here, this one's close but not quite, 4 zeros, 2 Fs. I can see here, they're using blue. Or I could have just looked at their screen and said, okay, this text looks blue, and yeah, they're currently using blue. So you need to replace this blue with your own color. So let me pull that notepad back up here. All right, so we have this current code is blue, the current color of the text, and so for my alien theme, I kind of changed it from a royal blue to a navy blue. So I'm going to go down here and find navy, but you guys find whatever color you want for your text. Okay, I'm going to use, this looks pretty close to navy. Oh yeah, it is navy. Huh, what do you know? All right, so you're going to copy that code for the color you want, and we're going to replace this current code for color hitting Control V. So we hit Control C to copy this code, went back to our notepad and hit Control V to paste, and that should replace the color. All right, So let's check out that very first change that we just did. So I'm going to save this as, we're going to actually change this. So this is our own invitation now. We're going to save this as index2.html. And it's going to say I already have something like that. I'll go ahead and replace it. All right, so we changed the color. So let's close this. This is what we currently had for the invitation. And we just went in and changed the color of the text. So let's go to our index2 file, double click, open it up, and you can see the text is now navy. So depending on what theme you have, what colors you want to use, you can choose whatever color you want on this list. So I'd prefer you choose something other than navy. So kind of get creative, think about what theme you're going to have for your invite, and choose some colors that kind of go with that theme. All right, so let's go back to the instructions. All right, so we changed the color for the text, so we're good on that one. We still have to change the color for the page background and for the table background. So let's go back to our Notepad, and so that was our title text color that we just changed. So the next style we see started here is BG color. So we said all of this code applies to this title text style. Now we look at the next style called BG color. And that kind of tells you, all right, this is going to be our background color. All right, so that's kind of how you figure out what area you're working on here. So our background color, they used the same blue color for their background as they had for their text. I'm going to use the same navy color for my background as I did with my text. So I'm just going to copy that code for navy and paste it here. I'll save, saving as my index2, go back to my folder here, preview that index2, and you'll notice it keeps opening a new window every time. So here's the original invitation. Here's after I change the color of the font. Here's after I change the color of the background. So I'm making progress here. So I'm going to, I always like to kind of just keep a couple of those tabs open to see my changes kind of take place. So we changed our background, we changed our text color. Let's go back to the assignment. Now we need to change the table background. So looking at the website, this picture, the text, and this text down here, this is all set up within a table. And we'll learn more about tables later in this unit. But so the table background for this table is this yellow color. All right, so now we have to go into our code and find the table background color and change it to a color that we want. So site text, that's probably not table background. Go down here, oh, here's table BG. That kind of tells me table background, background color. And that has this 4 F's, 2 9's. So let's go to the color board here, and we can find, if you wanted to, we could find, let's see, they're using kind of a yellow color. Let's see if we can find it on here. Oh, I don't even see the color that they're using. Okay, that's fine, because we're not going to use that color anyways. So based on, again, what your color scheme is, find a color that will kind of goes with your background and paste that code to your index page. So I'm going to go, let's see, navy blue. I might want to use like a nice light blue. Go with my navy blue. I copy that code for light blue. I go find my table background code and replace it. I'll save, go back to my index2 file. Let's preview it. And just change the color of my table background. So you can see, here's the original, here's after I changed the navy color, and now I changed my table background color. So making progress. Okay, next, let's go back to our code. Okay, so let's go through the checklist here. We changed the color of the page background, the table background, and the text. So we're good to go with that step. Now, the step 4 says change the size and type of font. So let's go back to our Notepad. So you'll see, and lots of web designers do this, is they make a change, they save it, they view it. And I think that it talks about that in your text, the whole cycle. You change, save, view, change, save, view. So it's just constantly, you're constantly making changes. Then you view it to see how it looks. Then you go back and make more changes. That way, you just want to kind of make sure that your changes are taking place and that it's looking how you want to look. I was working with a student earlier and we were doing this assignment, and he put in some colors that really didn't look too good together at first. So after he viewed it, he was able to go right back, change those colors, view it again, find something that worked, and then move on. So if you were to kind of make all your changes at once and then finish the project, there might be some things you want to go back and change. Then you have to kind of go back in your code, figure out where you were, where you wanted to make that change. So it's easier just to kind of keep viewing it as you go and make the changes as you go. Okay, so the step 4, change the size and type of font. So let's go back to our Notepad. Okay, so this first style, title text, was applied to my wording or verbiage on the invitation. And they're currently using Arial font, 36 pixels, and bold. So our instructions tell us to change the size and type of font. So I think you already read about this section where we want to keep it pretty basic. So some of your basic fonts are like Arial, Helvetica, Calibri, Times New Romans. Those are going to be the kind of basic fonts that you're going to want to choose from. So I'm going to change this to Helvetica. Let's make it a little smaller, and I'll leave it bold, that's fine. I'll save, go back, let's view it, and see if we can tell the difference here. Alright, so here's the original, big, bold, Arial. And Arial and Helvetica are pretty close to the same. Maybe I should try, let me try something else. Let's go with, let's go with Times New Roman, just so you can kind of really see the difference here. Oops. Save, go back to my file here, view. There we go, that one you can tell more of a difference. So here's, oh gosh, Arial that we were using. Then I changed it to Times New Roman, made it a little smaller. So you can choose kind of the font that you want. Again, keep it kind of basic though, and apply it. I really dislike Times New Roman font though. One of my favorites is Calibri. So I'm going to change mine to Calibri and leave it alone. Okay, so I have that font changed. So I changed the size. You'll notice now we also have some text down here where it gives, it cites Shelley Lehman's clip art as the source page for this image. So we can go ahead and change that text too. I'm going to copy Calibri and go down here where it says, okay, so I have, this was my title text style, this is my background style, cite text. So that's what they named the style for their citation text format. So you can see it was Arial, 12-point, bold. I'm going to change from Arial to Calibri. I'll save. Let's view it. Okay, so now I have Calibri font used on both my verbiage and my citation down here. Okay. So here's kind of the before so far and the after. All right, let's keep rolling here. Okay, so we changed the size and type of font. Now it says change the wording on the invitation to make it a party for you. So let's go back to our code and let's find all kind of the verbiage that's on our site. First we have this title up at the top, Welcome Webmastering Students. So this is kind of going to have to tie in with whatever theme you guys have. I made mine an alien theme, so I'm going to change mine to Greetings Earthlings, because I think that's fun. So Greetings Earthlings, and that's going to be my title. So we're changing that text, and then kind of scroll through. So this is the body of our website, and you can kind of see as you read through each line, you can kind of see where the verbiage comes in. So I get down to this line, hey partner, I'm having a webmastering party and you're invited. So I'm going to change that to, instead of partners, since I'm going with the alien themes, let's say, greetings Earthlings, I'm having a webmastering party and you're invited. So I made it my own party. And then here's, as you're reading through the next lines of text, here's some more, or next few lines of code. Here's the next kind of line of text that says, this cowboy picture is from Shelley Lehman's clip art page. So I'm going to leave that there for now because I haven't put in a new picture yet, but that's going to be our next step. So let's go ahead and file, save what we have, go back to our folder, and view it. So now you can see the text has changed and my title on the tab has changed. It used to say howdy webmastering students, now it says greetings Earthlings. So I have greetings Earthlings, I'm having a webmastering party and you're invited. So now I think our next step is to, find an image. So we're going to need to find an image on the internet that works with your theme, and you're going to save it to your Unit 2 images folder that we just created. Okay, and then we're also going to make sure that we copy the web address that we get the image from. So I'm going to go and do a Google or an image search. For some reason my computer has been using Bing a lot, but I always like Google a little better. So if I search aliens on Google, I want to use this first image. You can kind of click on it to enlarge the image. Then to save it, you're going to right click, go down to Save Image As, and your instructions told you to save it inside your Unit 2 folder, Unit 2 Invitation Images folder. And I actually already have this image in here called 3 Grays, so I'm going to save that image into that specific folder. And you'll notice that this image was from extraterrestrials.wikia.com. So that's going to be my source that I'm going to use here in a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Find an image on the internet that works for your theme and save it to your Unit 2 images folder. So, and I think that might be a typo because I have a Unit 2 invitation images folder that I saved that to. So make sure it's not just in Unit 2 images, but Unit 2 invitation images folder. Okay, replace the citation at the bottom of the screen with the web address of your image. So I'm going to go, my web address was extraterrestrials.wikia.com. Let's go back to my Notepad. So down here in the text where they cited their picture, I'm going to say the alien picture is from, and I'm just going to paste the website where I found that picture. And I'll just send a little shout out to Wikia. Thanks Wikia for letting me use this image. And we're going to learn more about copyright here in this unit as well, or it might be in the next unit, but there's certain ways that you have to cite your text or cite your sources, and yeah, we'll get more into that later. So anyways, okay, now I've cited my source. Now it says replace the image on the page with your new image. So as you're reading through the text, you should be able to find where you can kind of guess where they're inserting the image. So I have body span, center, table width. That's probably not image. TR means row, TD means column. Okay, here I go. Image, you can see IMG SRC. That stands for image source. And right now what this code says is inside my images folder, I want you to grab this GIF image. Okay, and that's the image of the cowboy on the Bronco. But so now, instead of the Bronco picture, I want it to grab this full image called 3 Grays. And something a little different, this is a JPEG image. So you can see if you mouse over the image, this Bronco picture, it says image type, it's a GIF. So that's going to need the extension .gif, which it has. Now I have a JPEG image, So I'm going to need the extension .jpg. So the image of the Bronco is a GIF image, so you'll see .gif, but my current image is a JPEG, so that's going to look a little different. So I want to type the name just like it appears as the image. So let me just show you. I want this is my alien picture, 3 grays. So I type that into where I'm putting my image, and then I also need to change this because it's not a GIF image, it's a JPEG image. Let me kind of just show you first. If I were to leave that, so right now I'm telling the website to go grab this 3grays.gif image. Let's see what happens. Okay, we save it, we view index 2. Okay, there's an error, all right? Because I put .gif as a GIF image, it's saying, whoa, wait a minute, there is no GIF image called 3 grays. So I need to fix that and put JPEG, because it's a JPEG image. So let's save that and see if that makes a difference. Oh, that's better, except now it's huge. So you can see, like, if we have the wrong extension, it's going to be like, okay, hold on, I can't find that image that you specified. Then I fixed it and said, oh yeah, sorry, find the JPEG image, and that's what it did. So you'll notice that looks pretty huge compared to this kind of original image here. And we're going to get to resizing images later on, but I kind of wanted to show you anyways, in case you wanted to do it to your own. So under section 4, graphics, it talks about sizing images, I believe in part C, yep, with the soccer balls. So you can apply different height and width to an image and tell it how many pixels you want it tall and wide. So I'm not going to get into this too much because we're going to cover it later, but what I want you to do is highlight this code that says width equals 135, height equals 135. Copy that, go back to your Notepad, and you'll notice that they put the height and width right after the JPEG image code. So they also have this alternative text, which we'll talk about later, called soccer ball, and then right after that they put height and width. So we're going to insert height and width right after our JPEG image. So we insert height and width. So let's see what it looks like when I change the height and width to 135 pixels. Oh, need to go, should I save that? File, save, back to my folder. Okay, so it made it a square and made it a lot smaller, right? So I probably don't want 135 pixels. So this is where something where you're going to want to kind of experiment. And I want it more rectangular than square. So you might adjust it, let's say 250 wide. Let's do 300 wide and maybe 150 tall. And see what that does. Okay, so that's a little better. I might need to make it a little taller even, just to kind of keep it proportional. So again, this is one of those things where you kind of just go back and forth and make your adjustments. And actually I want it even a little wider. Let's do 500 and 350. See what that does. Save. Index 2. There we go. That looks pretty good. So it's not too big where it's overpowering. I can still see my text. I might make my text a little smaller now just because it's having a lot of lines of text up there now. So maybe I'll say 14 point text. Oh, let's make it a little bigger than that. Save. File. There we go. That looks pretty good. So I have my alien image inserted. I changed the colors. I changed the verbiage. I changed the source. we should be good to go. Let's go back to the assignment now. This was in section 1, part E. Okay, replace the image with your new image. Save as invite to, which we've already saved it, but let's go ahead and make sure we save it again. Again, it should be index2.html. View your page to make sure everything looks nice, which we've been viewing it throughout the process, so we know we're good to go there. If you know of any other changes, make sure you make them. Now you're going to zip your Unit 2 folder and in order to submit it. So go back to your Unit 2, go back to your portfolio folder, and now you're going to zip the entire Unit 2 folder together. And in order to do that, you're going to right-click on Unit 2, go to Send to Compressed Folder, and this zipped folder is what you will be submitting to the Dropbox, this Unit 2 zipped folder. Because if you were to only submit to me your HTML file, I won't have all the image sources that you used. So in order for me to have all of the image sources that you used, you need to zip your entire Unit 2 folder. Otherwise, when I go to open it and your website's going to try and pull images from your images folder, it's not going to be able to find it because you didn't submit it to me. So you need to make sure you zip that Unit 2 folder so I get all of your images and everything that you used combined together into that folder. Okay, so then submit that zipped folder to the Dropbox and make sure, I'm going to be looking for all of these things, that it was written in Notepad and that was saved properly. I'm going to look for spelling errors, make sure that your colors and text looks okay, make sure it's in your own words, and that it's a zipped folder. So make sure you include all those things and you should be good.